Bandits coach Jeff Casteel. Greg.
So Jeff, talked to you about this a little bit in the spring, but you were out for a short period.
Mm-hmm.
You got the spring back in under your belt, but now you're really in the groove. So what's it feel like? Is camp exhausting, or do you love it still? Where are you?
You know what? It isn't as bad as what it was back in the day, though. It used to be 3-a-days, So this is not as taxing, but still, it's. I still get a little tired, though. But the kids are doing a great job, really. I mean, we had a pretty good room. The Bandits, I think, they're doing a good job and trying to do what we're asking them to do, and so it's been good.
Your adjustment to Zach Alley's scheme, is it, for you, is it that complex, or did you catch on pretty quickly?
Well, there's it's just very multiple, and trying to keep the kids up to speed off the installs is what we're doing. So, and eventually it's going to slow down for the kids, and they're doing a good job with it, though.
You touched upon it there a little bit. We talked to Coach Rodriguez about it last week or the week before too a little bit. How has preseason camp changed since you started coaching? Like, what are some of the differences compared to 10 years ago, 20 years ago, so on and so forth?
Well, it used to be, you go in the morning, then again in the afternoon, then again in the evening when we started out. So, now it's to where, we really can only practice once a day, and I mean, you can walk through and things like that, but I mean, it was actually practice back in the day. So it's a little easier really a little easier on everybody, players and coaches.
Do you miss the 2-a-days and the 3-a-days? Do you think there's some benefit to that you don't get by not having them, or? I think probably, if we could get them twice a day, I think it's a little, but, it is what it is. The kids are so much bigger and stronger, too, than what they were back in the day, too. So, but, But the thing that happens now is, and it used to be that the kids weren't here in the summer. They'd have to go get a summer job, and then lift weights and do those things. And, that's changed. The kids are here, pretty much year round now. And so, it's a lot of wear and tear on the players on the year.
You've been at this a long time. What makes Zach Alley's defense different, and how is he? What makes him tick?
Well, I think it's just there's just because he's so there's so many multiple, and he's just moving pieces around, and guys are you may have you'll have 3 or 4 different personnel groups, but moving players around is the thing, and he he's a pressure guy, and so he's going to bring pressure and a lot of movement. So
I think he said that he wants it to be complicated to the other guys, but not to you guys. Is that possible?
Well, I think again, as you get going through the install, and you get, and the kids have been doing it, but once that settles in, and you come up with what you're going to do, especially when you start getting into week to week, it gets simpler.
You mentioned Zach Alley's defense being multiple, and Rich has talked about his defense being complex and multiple. But why is multiple and complex better? And kind of piggybacking off Bob's question, because that could be more difficult to learn, especially for a team with so many new players. Maybe that could cause some confusion for the players, and then they'd be out.
Well, that's why we're practicing. That's the and everybody. It's not the. Everybody tries to mix things up. But I think that's it's about practicing, and the kids paying attention, studying, and the kids work their tail off. When they leave here, they go and study. It's just it's football, and that I don't know that it's going to be that difficult. It's just it's all about concepts, and once you get a concept, then this call becomes that call, if that makes sense.
So
Yeah,
even though it's
but-
complex, his complexity makes sense for you,
Correct, and so, just trying to put it into categories for the kids, and that's what we're trying to do with them.
Do you feel it's so much more complex than other D coordinators you've been around and what you've experienced in the last, 20, 30 years?
No, I mean, that's just,
Because the tag on him, even nationally, if you talk to people around the country, is that his defense is complex, it is multiple, those are the words. Is it really that much more, and why are other people not trying to be more complex, I guess, is the question.
again, I don't know that, I know what we do, and, I don't really know what to tell you with that. I mean, everybody tries to be multiple and move guys around. I mean, that's pretty much the way it is. But, I don't think that it's any more difficult than what anybody else is doing. It's just that, just moving the pieces and,
It's more complex now than, 20 years ago. for
I would say that.
Jeff, on the topic of pressure, it's such a high wire act because a lot can go wrong if it doesn't go right. And so I imagine it's personnel based too, if guys can do it. Are there pressure coaches that just do it no matter what and they make sure that they have the guys who can do it? Or do you have to, no matter how good of a coach you are, if your guys can't do what you're asking them to do for pressure, then it's not a good
Yeah, I mean,
idea.
I think that's a fair question, and but I think we have the people to do the things that we want to do, and we got some guys that can run. We got some guys that get off the ball. We have some good blitzers and some natural blitzers. That's in my experience, the guys that kind of don't need a coach to tell them how to blitz are the best blitzers. And, I was been blessed with quite a few of those over the years, guys that just, have a knack for blitzing.
Is it as much about just, hey, blitz, that's one coaching point, but you have to, the other guys have to tackle very well one-on-one. You better be able to cover. How much is coaching around it to make sure that all the other parts facilitate the blitz?
Yep, and again, that's what we're doing, and Coach Rod gives us a pretty good picture of, how people are going to react to some of the ball's going to come out quick, and those are things that we're working on in individual drills and group drills and all those things. We try to tie all that together.
It's a position name that is used in a lot of different defenses. It's been here several different defenses in the past. Obviously, there's different assignments. Is there anything unique or different about this that stands out from past bandit position type players that you have?
No, I wouldn't say, and really the guys that Jake and I have are really, their job is to set the edge, hit the quarterback, and by and large, make it, that's what their job is. And, we've talked to our guys about, we need to be more productive than what we've been the last 3 or 4 years in terms of, affecting the quarterback. It'd be nice if, the guys all get, 10 sacks apiece, but it's just affecting the quarterback. That, if we can affect the quarterback, turn the ball in when we're supposed to turn the ball, that's what our guys got to do. We're talking about trying to be physical every play, knocking people back, and playing football. That's really what we're trying to get through to them. And I understand the questions about being multiple and all that, but it's football. Football is, you know what I mean?
Any crossover with potential with linebackers, or are you really focused on keeping all those guys separate right now?
Yeah, just we just have our group. We have 5 guys right now, maybe possibly 6, depending on what happens with Jamori.
Your experience, how much do you need to see before you have an idea of, I know you're always evaluating guys and personnel. How much do you need to see in your mind before you're like, okay, we're good here, we can start moving forward with guys?
To be honest with you, I think we're probably there, right? Yeah. In my room, anyway. I can't speak for anybody else, but in Jake and I's room, I think, we've got a pretty good handle of, and we have a good group of kids that's, diverse in all the things that they're not
all the same player. We have a little bit of, different deals with those guys.
Jeff, give us some insight on a few of those individuals at Bandits, so Brandon Sider or Braden Siders and Curtis Jones. Give me a little insight on that.
Well, those are two. Braden's done a good job really since he's got here. He's transferred in from Wyoming. He's a tough, strong, really physical player. Curtis is a young guy that is very athletic. He's got a huge upside, and he can run, and and he had a really good spring, and we've got some new guys in, and they're learning. Marshawn Oxley is another guy that can get off the ball and has done a nice job, and Keenan Eck, Jackson Beiser, Bies has made plays. So, all those kids are doing a pretty good job in getting a shot. So, appreciate their effort.
Hey, Jeff, how does Rich's tempo and having to go against that in practice help a defense, or what does it do to a defense and the fact that it's so fast? Does that make game day easier, or what?
In my opinion, it makes it easier. And in my experience back in our day, it made it easier for our guys. And it's tough in the scrimmage. In fact, I talked to our guys in our room. I said, "You got tired, right?" Yeah, I got tired. I said, "You got real tired, right?" And I said, "But that's the reason why we're, you got to start stacking days of, and get yourself into shape running on and off the field." I mean, we still, to be honest with you, still don't do that the way we want them to. And, and it's about just building up your lungs. I mean, I can't mention names, but we got the lungs of a flea, some of our guys, you know what I mean? 2 plays and they can't breathe, you know what I mean? So, but we've got to, I think it's really good that they have to go through that every day, and I think the games are a lot easier.
What's it like working with Jake?
That's good. I really enjoy that, and we talked about that when I was here in the spring. But he does all the heavy lifting. I just complain every once in a while. I almost said a bad word there, but he does a good job with the players, and like I say, I really like our room. Our room's a good room.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's it. That was easy. Thank you.